Hello children, we'll be talking about the gland system in our body in this video. So just please pay attention and you can open your books to page number 126. So as I have already told you that there is a gland system present in our body, and this gland system can be divided into two categories, that is exocrine gland system and endocrine gland system. Exocrine gland system, children, the glands in our body. See, the glands, as I've already told you, the glands are the structures which give out secretion, and these secretions are called hormones, right? So these secretions, they have a role in our body. They play a important role in our body, and it balances our body in different ways. Fine. So we'll be talking about that, the functioning. But before that, we need to know what is the difference between exocrine and endocrine gland. Exocrine glands, they have the ducts. Yes, duct-like structure, and because of this, they can release their secretion with the help of those ducts. Like for example, we have oil glands, we have sweat glands. But when we talk about the endocrine system, which we'll be actually discussing in detail, these children, these glands, they do not have ducts, and that is why the secretions that they release or they give out, that is given out in the blood itself. Since you know that the body contains the blood, so in the bloodstream itself, the the secretion is given, and these secretion, they reach the place where they have to act, which are called as target site. Fine. Like, what is your target? You understand the same way here, where they have to act, where they have to reach, they reach that site, that particular place, and there they show their action. So these are the endocrine gland, and endocrine gland system forms a very important role in our body, in balancing our body, in having different you can say in controlling our body, we can say. So we'll be talking about different glands and their secretions, their location, where they're placed. You can see very well in the diagram which is given on page number 127, the placement, the location of different glands. Along with it, I'll be discussing the functions of these, the very important functions of these glands. So first, we'll be talking about the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is also called the master gland. It is a pea-sized matar jaisa. Yes, it's a pea-sized gland which is located just below your brain, as you can see in the diagram also, and it is called master gland, children. Why? Because it controls the functioning of the other glands also. So that is why it is addressed as master gland. Other than that, it also has a role in controlling the growth. So if the secretion of this hormone from the pituitary gland is not proper, then it may result in the improper growth of the body. So this is how you can underline. It is called master endocrine gland. First thing, large, pea-sized, and present just below the brain. Next, we talk about the thyroid gland. Now, thyroid gland, it is, again, you can see the thyroid gland. It is present in pair just below the Adam's apple. As you know the position of the Adam's apple, I've told you in the class before. So here you can see the placement of the thyroid gland, and they, as the name of the gland itself suggests, they secrete thyroxine. And this thyroxine we have already studied about when we talked about the metamorphosis in the frog, the growth. Yes, you remember. So here also we see that in this case, now here you can find a connection. There it regulated the growth. Yes, and here you see that if we do not take enough of iodine in our diet, then this secretion is not there. I mean, it's not there in the proper amount which is required. And when it is not there in the proper amount, then it is going to affect this neck area. It will get swollen up. Sometimes you must have seen some people with a heavily swollen neck, and it is a disease which is termed as goiter. And it is because of the deficiency of the iodine, and that is why iodized salt should be used, should be taken in the diet. I mean, that is the way iodine can be taken, or iodine intake can be done. So important, just below the larynx or Adam's apple, and the secretion is the thyroxine. Then you have that it of course it controls the the disease. I mean, goiter. You do not suffer goiter if you have proper iodine in the diet, and it is because of the proper secretion of the thyroxine. Now we talk about when the iodine is present, then only this will be secreted in proper amount. Then we talk about the pancreas, which you are well aware of. Somebody asked the question also when I was taking the classes in previous days. So here you see the pancreas, a leaf-like structure which is present, a big large gland, and it regulates the amount of sugar in our body. Fine. And if like if your pancreas are not working properly, then of course the level of sugar may be high, it may be low, and this can result in a lot of problem. Of course, people should suffer high sugar level, low sugar level, because of the improper production of the insulin, which is the secretion given out from this gland. And then of course you need to visit the doctor, and insulin injections are also given in the severe cases if these level they go out of limit. Fine. Next we talk of adrenal children. As the name itself suggests, the secretion from this is adrenaline. The gland is adrenal gland and the secretion is adrenaline. Now this is a gland which you will be very happy to know about, right? Because it helps to control our emotions, how do we act, like when the teacher takes a stick in the hand, or the teacher says, come, I'm going to tell you, and you are yes, so at that time, how do you control yourself? Sometimes you are very emotional, you want to cry, you want to burst out crying. At that time also, what holds you, what brings you to balanced position, it is all because of the secretion of the adrenal gland, that is adrenaline. Fine. So it controls, you can say it controls your emotion. Then next we talk about the role of the hormones in the reproductive function. Again, it will be easy for you to understand if you relate it with the previous chapter, that is the reproduction. We've talked about reproduction in human beings. So there we talked about the estrogen and testosterone. We did not talk about progesterone, but we talk about estrogen and testosterone. These are the male and the female stimulating hormones, and they are called as FSH and TSH. So like TSH is a different thing, but FSH, female stimulating hormone, is there. So we talk about estrogen children. Now this controls the you can say the characteristic feature, how we can identify the male from the female, how we can differentiate between them. So that is there. Then of course the body parts, with the help of the body parts, how you'll be able to identify, or the development of the body in the male and in the female. So when we talk about the estrogen, it is the female one, the female stimulating hormone. So here we see it controls the secondary sexual characteristic. Progesterone, which you can say its role is there when a female attains pregnancy or conceives. So it helps in making the uterine wall, etc., and preparing the uterus to conduct the baby. So that is about progesterone. Then we talk about the testes. It again has two functions, that it produces the sperms, as we have talked about it in previous chapter also, and it also helps in producing the testosterone, which is the male stimulating hormone. Fine. And of course, how again the characteristic features which are developed, with which the secondary sexual characteristic features which help to differentiate between the male and the female. So that also it helps in doing that. Next we talk about the reproductive phase children. We'll be talking about the menstrual cycle or the reproductive phase in the female, you can say the female's life. So it starts with when we talked about puberty in the initial classes. So onset of puberty, that is from 10 to 12 years. Yes, it starts from there and it ends later in the later years from like 40 to 45. Fine. Now in between the life of a female, what happens and what happens in a cyclic manner, that is what we are going to talk about in reproductive phase, or you can say the menstrual cycle. Now if you remember what we talked about the menstrual cycle in reproduction also, and I told you that we'll be doing it in detail when we'll be doing the next chapter. So here when we talk about the menstrual cycle children, you are well aware that ovaries, one of the ovaries, they produce the ovum. Yes, and this ovum, this is the female gamete, you're well aware of, and there are so many sperms produced by the male. Now these sperm, these are going to fuse with this ovum, and they are going to, this process was called fertilization. We have discussed about it. So fusion of male and female gamete is called fertilization. And then what happens? That a zygote is formed, which is going to redivide, and the new individual or the baby is formed. You can say fetus is formed. embryo and then resulting into the fetus and then to a baby. So now when we talk about the menstrual cycle, when the ovum is produced, I said the fertilization has to take place. Now, if fertilization take place, of course, it will result into pregnancy, which will later then continue with the baby formation and all. But if this does not happen, if the egg does not get fertilized with the male gamete, with the sperm, then what happens? Then another process take place, and this process is that, like, the uterine wall, which becomes thick, along with the lining of the wall of the uterus, and this egg, you can say, it is shed off in the form of blood, and this repeats every 28 days. That means you can say, you can in a way call a month. Every month this happens, and that is why we refer this to as menstrual cycle. So in case if the girl or if the female conceives and becomes pregnant, then of course this menstrual cycle is going to stop till the time of delivery and later. And if this does not happen, then what happens? Then the menstrual cycle continues. So we can say that this, since it happens in a cyclic manner every 28 days, every month, that is why we call it as a menstrual cycle. And when a female first time has this undergoes this process, that the blood shedding takes place, that is called menarche. That is called menarche. And when the female attains the age of 40 or 45, depending upon the individual, it varies, what happens? This process stops, children. And when it stops, or you can say the stoppage of the menstrual cycle, refers to as menopause. It occurs at the age between 40 to 45. So then you can say the female becomes incapable of reproduction or reproducing. So this is the menstrual cycle or the reproductive phase of a female. Next we talk about the ovulation. Now the production of the ovum, yes, the production of the ovum is through one of the ovaries, that is called ovulation. And here only when it starts, it's menarche. Again, if it gets fertilizes, it results into pregnancy. If it does not get fertilized, then this is given off, this is shed off along with the blood and the dead cells and all. So this is the menstruation or menstruation cycle, which repeats itself. And then we talk about the menopause. So this is about the ovulation. Now we discuss about the common problem of adolescence, which is very, very important for you to understand. See, children, we have discussed some of the problem in detail. I have talked a lot about it. And again, problem of skin, acne and all. Yes, this happens. So you do not need to be worried about it, because this is something very natural. This is something very common, and it happens with everyone at this age, when you are in the age of adolescence. Next, eating disorder. Sometimes people, the children, they think that I'll turn fatty. I should not eat this. I should not eat that. Yes. And sometimes they do not even eat when they are hungry also. And at the same time, there are children who keep eating, and that is why you see, most of the time you see at this age, when you are in this age, you see that sometimes children, they become very, very fat. So the idea behind is eat healthy when required. It should not be overeating. It should not be like even if you are feeling hungry, you do not eat because you will become fat. It's not the case, fine? So it should be in a proper manner. Then of course we talk about the something very bad, but still exists in society. So we need to discuss the some of the children, they fall into a bad company and they take the drugs, they take the chemicals which are not suitable to the body, like alcohol and then drugs, then nicotine. There are different things. Yes, so this you should avoid, you should stay away from it, because this is not at all good for your health. Next, we talk about the suicidal tendencies, depression and all. I have already discussed. It is only because this is because of overthinking to everything. I have not got this much mark. What is she going to feel? What is he going to feel? What is Papa going to say? If Papa says something, Papa is very bad. If Mama says something, Mama is very bad. This is not the way. See, we all are there to help. Yes, The only thing is your perception. You need to understand that they all are telling you something because they want improvement in you. It's not that they are pointing out your mistakes. This is a very big problem. Children take it in a way, they want to insult me, my teachers insulted me, my parents have insulted me. It's not the case, children. Nobody is there to insult you. Everybody is there for your improvement. And moreover, I have already said that whomever you feel comfortable, and if the right person, if that person is right, of course, because you may be comfortable with anyone, but then maybe that person is not right, so you have to see that also. So like you can sit, you can share your problem, and you can discuss. Next, of course, since I have already told you that the girls and boys, they attain puberty, they become sexually mature for reproduction, but then they are not emotionally, you can say, fit for reproduction, for having sex, because it may result into pregnancy, and of course it can bring about a lot of change in your body if such things happen. So you have to be very, very careful with these things also. Then we talk about different factors, children. If, see, you, as I've told you, that these things are normal, these things happen to everyone. Yes, the level of course varies. Sometimes in some of the children you see it to an extent. Some of the children, they don't express their views at all, they don't want to say anything. That is also not good. See, everything should be in a balance. Zada kam, it's not good. So it should be balanced. So if these things are happening, you should take it very normally. It happens with everyone, and with time things will be okay. The only thing is you need to keep yourself balanced. You need to keep yourself attached with your parents, with your teachers, and you should have faith in them, that you should trust them, that yes, if they're telling you something, maybe at that particular time, point of instance, you feel that no, they are wrong, they don't want to understand, मेरी problem कोई समझता ही नहीं है. It's like that. But it's not like that. They have seen, they've been through that phase, particular phase, so they know that yes, this is happening and it is because of this is happening because of this. And more of the times you are worried unnecessarily, you are overthinking, so that is okay. But then at the same time, if some of the things they exceed the limit, of course you need to visit the doctor. Not all the time, but of course if they exceed, then you need to visit the doctor or the counselor. It's not at all bad. Please do not take it that the way that hum bimar hai. Okay, it's okay. It happens. Some of the problems are there. You can discuss with your doctors and things will be okay and fine. Yes. So what are things like, if you feel sleep disturbance, if you're not able to sleep for many days, and then suicidal tendencies are there, social withdrawal, you don't want to be with people, you don't want to sit with people, you don't want to discuss with people, you enjoy your own loneliness, that is not good. Then violent or aggressive behavior, this is very important. This has been observed that many of the time children, like they throw things. Yes, then like if your teacher is saying something, you just tear the page and I don't want to study, and say, see, these are the things, these are not good. Then personality changes are there, sudden personality changes which are not good. Signs of alcohol or drug usage, very, very, very important. This shouldn't be the case. If this is the case, it should be reported. Feel free to tell to your parents, and of course parents are going to find out the alternative for them. Fine. So these are the cases when you need to see the doctor. Otherwise it's all okay. Then we talk about how to stay healthy. Now we have discussed about the problem, let's talk about the solution also. So like personal hygiene, very, very important. As I've already told you that now your body develops an odor, smell is there, so you need to be very, very hygienic. You need to see common hygiene, which we have been told since our childhood, that is a different thing. But now here you need to take care of your clothes. They should be washed. Yes, you should take bath. Then of course your personal cleanliness is very, very important. You should wash hands, of course. These things, because see, if bacterial infection is there, it will be difficult, and if it carries on, if it lingers on and you don't tell it to your parents or anyone, then of course it can create a problem later. So it's better to maintain your personal hygiene. Then we talk about the diet. Of course diet is very important for everyone. Proper diet, balanced diet. And when we talk about the adolescent, becomes more important, because this is the growth period when you can grow well. Yes. So at that this particular instance, do not get into like after coming from the school, samosa kha lete hain, ye kha lete hain, because that is going to fill up your tummy. So it shouldn't be the case. It should be like you take the healthy diet. It should consist of the proteins, carbohydrate, vitamins, fruits, everything. Juices should be there. Of course, sometimes you can enjoy with your snacks and all, but then it shouldn't be a part of your regular diet. Fine. Iron rich Food very important for the girls, as you know, that this is the time when you can suffer anemia, a problem which is there because of the blood. See, you suffer, you have these menstruation cycle is there, and of course you can suffer the deficiency of the blood. So iron rich food is very very important. Chana, then jaggery is there, yes, then iron rich food, of course. Vegetables should be included in the diet, of course, for boys and girls both, but then for females it's very very important. Next we talk about the physical exercise. Do not just keep sitting at a place, hum pad rahe hain, hum ye kar rahe hain. No, physical exercise is very very important, because maybe right now you are in such a age, maybe it's not creating problem, but later ages it may create problem. So just be careful, have proper exercise. You can cycle, you can do yoga, you can play different games, be involved in that. It is going to give you mental peace also. And of course, when you go and you play in the park or wherever, you mix up with the people, you can share your problems also. So physical and mental, both the exercises, they happen together when it's like when you're playing with someone. Yes, so it develops a feeling where you can, like, it releases your frustration, you feel happy, you feel good, and you are fit at the same time. Next, we talk about the reproductive health and sexually transmitted diseases. Very important, STDs, that is the short form, sexually transmitted diseases, children, which means that these are, see, transmission means like sometimes what happens if a person, if a child sitting next to you start achi, you don't want to sit with the child. Why? Because you may also catch the infection. Yes, cheek aa rahi hai, and you change your seat. Now, the same thing applies here. There are some of the diseases which can be transmitted sexually. So that is why, like AIDS is there. HIV is the virus, human immunodeficiency, AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Yes, so it's a syndrome, and HIV is the virus. So here you see that it can get transmitted sexually. If a person who is already suffering from the disease, if the person has the sex with someone else who is normal, there are chances that the other person can also be infected. Then hepatitis B is there. There is a vaccine for it, but then again, the proper precautions should be taken in order to get to stay away from these type of diseases. Then of course, you should be you should be on the safer side. You should not use the things which are used by others. Yes, you can use your personal things, like when you're going out, you're staying in the hotel and all, you can use your own things, so as to be on safer side, so as to be not to be exposed to these type of diseases. Live a hygienic life. Then say no to drugs. Very 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 important. See, many of the time people try to be your friends. See, drugs are the chemical substances that actually bring your body to ease. Please, I repeat, bring your body at ease. But if they are taken in overdoses, if they are taken in improper manner without the permission of the doctor, and moreover, the chemical substances which you do not need to take, and if you start taking them, if you get habitual to it, it is going to bring your body to disease, from ease to disease. So that is why drugs, then there are different other materials which are, you must be well aware of, you can say that is a hazard to the society. Pan masala, gutka, cigarette, nicotine, etc. They are there. You should stay away from that. Yes, because see, first thing is your age is not suitable for the intake. No age is suitable, I mean to say that. But here again, if we talk about the adolescents and adolescent people, then you need to be very very careful. Stay out of all this, because this is going to just take you to the end of nothing. Nothing will be there with you. So just stay away from it, because here at this age, children are likely to fall into this habit. Yes, and these people, they may provide you free, because see, they are the ones who have been given the responsibility to spread all this nonsense in the society. So we have to be prudent, we have to be wise, we have to be thoughtful that what we have to take in and what we have to reject. So if a person, stranger, offers you these drugs, these substances which may be harmful, which are harmful, please say no to these things. Say that I don't want it, please, thank you. And moreover, do not talk to the strangers. Do not feel happy in discussing things with the person you don't know anything about. They can be very very harmful to you. The people can be very harmful, and these substances of course can be very harmful. A chart there on the page, this same page 131 says, drugs useful if prescribed by the doctors and very harmful if taken without the medical consultation. And that is why, see, many of the times, like, people are, they face this problem that they are unable to sleep, but then you cannot get the medicines for your this problem until less it is prescribed by the doctor. Why? Because initially it is going to relax your body, but then a time will come when you'll become habitual to it, and it'll be problematic. So that is why the drugs, any substance, any medicine, please only take it under the medical supervision. Do not take it otherwise. Fine, children? Thank you, children.